wore suspenders in my honor. I never forgot that.
I never forgot where I came from. I left Brooklyn. Brooklyn never left me.
This is one of the great honors of my long career, just to be in the same earth with you.
You've always described yourself to me and to just about everybody as a kid from Brooklyn.
That's what I am.
What does that mean?
It means I'm a kid from Brooklyn who walked the streets with my friends and who always wanted to be on the air. I don't know why, but I was entranced with radio, and I was that little poor kid. We were on relief. My father had died when I was 9. New York City bought my first pair of glasses. I think what it means is, Rick, I never forgot where I came from. And that's true to this minute. I never forgot where I came from. So I'm 85 years old, but I'm the kid from Brooklyn. I left Brooklyn, but Brooklyn never left me. So that's part of my soul. And that's what I brought to the business, being curious, being that kid that went to Dodger games. All my friends would want autographs. I would want to ask questions. I remember running down the street with Carl Ferrillo. You know, where did you get that arm? And how'd you learn to throw to third base like that? I was fascinated with asking questions.
Born to do interviews, huh?
Correct. I was born to be what I do.
This whole thing started in Miami for you.
Did.
Brooklyn, Miami. Get us there.
Okay. I always wanted to get into broadcasting. I didn't go to college. My brother did. I'm walking down the street in New York, and a friend introduces me to James Sermons, who was chief of staff announcers at CBS. Wonderful man. And I said to him, I want to get in the radio. What should I do? And he said, get down to Miami. There's no union, a lot of stations, a lot of radio stations, more stations than the market needs. And so you'll find older guys and younger guys, very few 40-year-olds. It'd be a good chance to break in. And I knocked on doors in a small station, WAHR in Miami Beach, gave me a job, and I was a disc jockey. And on May 1st, 1957, I started on the air. And from that moment, when that light went on, and I told the audience it was my first day, never lie to the audience. I found my magic. So my dreams of what it was always, now I had program directors I didn't like. I had management maybe, but I never, ever, when that light went on, didn't like what I was doing.
You're natural.
Yeah, I think the good broadcasters are naturals, and I had the good fortune to be around people like Arthur Godfrey and Jackie Gleason.
Wow.
Godfrey, I co-hosted a show with him for a week. Gleason taught me so much, and Jackie told me the only secret in this business is there's no secret. Be yourself. If you're yourself, hey, that's what it was. I remember I was being interviewed in Canada, of all places, and this guy said to me, well, supposing you were walking down the hall at NBC, someone grabs you, sits you down, says, Tom Brokaw's sick, you're on. What would you do? I would say, I was walking down the hall, this guy just grabbed me, said, Tom Brokaw's sick, and I'm on. Okay, now I'm going to do the best I can.
It's transparency.
I haven't anchored the news. But you tell the audience that, so you goof, hey, they just grabbed them to do this. Mm-hmm. How can you go wrong if you tell them what's happening?
Share the process.
Correct.
I love you for it. You're absolutely right. So Here you are in Miami, 50 bucks a day, brand new, kid from Brooklyn suddenly is the kid from South Florida. You get your very first interview with a celebrity because you're doing your show from Pumpernickel's restaurant in Miami Beach, and a guy walks in who sings, "Somewhere across the sea," and his name was?
Bobby Darin. Oh, the shock babe has touched teeth, dear, and he keeps it pearly white. Bobby walked in. He didn't sleep. He was working at the Deauville across the street. And so he got to start listening to me, and he wanted to see what it was all about. And I'm doing this breakfast show at Pumpernickel's, and Bobby was a great guest. And after the show, we walked down Collins Avenue. And I said to him, "Where is all this energy going?" He was so hyper. "Where is it all going?" He says, "Well, I'm not going to live past 40. He had rickets as a child, a heart disease. So he knew he wasn't going to have a long life. And he said, "I want it all now." You never saw him in a nightclub, did you? Whoa, what an entertainer. He and Sammy Davis. Bobby Darin would run around, play drums, throw the drumsticks in the air, catch him behind his back, play with the audience. And he was a wonderful guy. I felt so sad when he passed, but he was the first.
The interesting thing is, the day before you were interviewing a waitress at Pumpernickel's, and then you're interviewing Bobby Darin, and it just goes to show that, I guess, what Larry described to us when you interview someone, whether it's a hip-hop artist or the President of the United States, is it the same interview?
In a sense, it is. Who, what, where, when, why. Who, what, where, when, why is the essence of all interviews. And I try to get a lot into the whys. Why do you want to do this? What do you get out of it? And my curiosity, someone asked me, if you had interviewed Osama bin Laden, what would you ask him? Well, the stupidest first question would be, in my opinion, why'd you bomb all those people? Because then you get them on the defense. No, what do I want when I'm interviewing Osama bin Laden? Information. I want to know about him. So my question would be, you were born into one of the richest families in Saudi Arabia. Why'd you leave? Why'd you go live in caves? Now, I'm going to get to his motivation. And I learned this a long time ago. Nobody thinks they're bad. Hitler didn't get up in the morning, comb his hair, and say, "I am an evil, terrible person." Osama bin Laden had a goal. Now, where it manifests itself, we're going to learn as we go along in the interview how he got to be where he was, how he felt about doing this. But I'm going to find out about him and then the event. First him and then the event. If I go to the event first, I'm going to have a tough time learning about him. So I'm curious about people, the person. The event comes later. So it's the same whether it's a president or Bobby Darin or Rick Sanchez or a cameraman. And Studs Terkel told me once, the great Chicago, everybody's interesting. Everybody's interesting. You ask good questions, you learn a lot. I remember he said to me once, Sinatra, anyone can interview Sinatra. Interview the elevator operator. He's interesting too.
You tell a great story when you were first starting in the business where, like all of us, you made a significant mistake. You walked away from the studio to do something. And I think, what was it? You left a song playing and it skipped?
No, it didn't skip. I had first started, and I was on the air like 3 months, and I was loving it, man. I was doing disc jockey and sports and news, and you know, you were on the air 10 hours a day and doing, And one day the general manager of the station said, the all-night guy is sick. Would you do the all-night show? Sure, Marty, I'll do anything. So all you do is play records and talk. And the engineer, they didn't have an all-night engineer. It was a small station. So I'm talking, playing records. At 3 in the morning, I answer the phone, WHR, and this voice, this woman's voice, says, I want you. And I suddenly realized there were other pluses in this business. So I said, I get off at 6. And she said, I got to go to work at 6. Why don't you come over now? I said, well, I'm on the air. She says, well, I live 9 blocks away. Here's my address. Figure out something, because I'm very attracted to you. And I got my first dilemma. Moral dilemma. I want to be in radio all my life. And this is the first woman that has ever in my life said to me, I want you. So what the audience heard was, I have a special treat for you tonight. You're gonna hear the entire Harry Belafonte at Carnegie Hall album uninterrupted. I had 33 minutes, which is all the time I needed.
Yeah.
Which is still true to this day. So I put the record on, went to her house. The light was on right over the door. I walked in. I never really saw her clearly. She was in a white negligee, sitting on the couch. The radio was on, Harry singing. I put my arms around her. My cheek is against her right cheek. And Harry singing Jamaica Farewell. And he gets to down the way where the nights, where the nights, where the nights.
Oh, no.
Record gets stuck. I place her back on the couch. I get into the car. I get the radio on. It's called Jewish Masochism. I'm driving back to the radio station hearing, where the nights, where the nights, where the night. And I thought I'd lose my job, but I didn't. But I'm answering the phone, apologizing to people. And the last call I pick up is like an older Jewish guy. And I said, WHR, and he goes, where the nights, where the nights. You're driving me crazy with where the nights. I said, why don't you change the station? And he said, I'm an invalid.
Oh, no.
And a nurse takes care of me during the day, and the radio is up on top of the dresser. I can't reach it. So I keep your station on all day long. That was one of my first adventures, but I did not, luckily, lose my job.
I've been in the media a long time. RT is one of the few channels doing news. RT does news.
This is my country, greatest show on earth.
Tell the truth.
He wore suspenders in my honor. I never forgot that.
I never forgot where I came from. I left Brooklyn. Brooklyn never left me.
This is one of the great honors of my long career, just to be in the same earth with you.
You did something interesting, Larry. You were the first one to do a national broadcast on the radio with, I believe it was the Mutual Network. It was called Larry King Live, I believe. And
The Larry King Show, it was the Mutual Network. It was Ed Little's idea. He ran the network. And I said, how's a national, it was the first national talk show. How's a national talk show going to work? I mean, how's it going to be interesting if I've got the mayor of Chicago on? Why would someone in L.A. be interested? And he said, because you're the perfect kind of person to do this, because you're curious about everything. And what that show did, I would sit there at night, Rick, had 20 incoming lines. They were all ringing. I'd look out to my left and look, it was broadcast from Virginia, but I'd see the whole city of Washington, midnight to 5. And I had a ball. I had great guests. Bill Clinton called in one night when he was governor at 3 in the morning. And I said, what are you doing up at 3 in the morning? He said, never mind. Cosby ran from Washington through the streets to come up to the radio show. So many.
I was addicted to that show. So many of us were. That show blew up, and it was the kind of show where after you got to where you needed to be, if you were driving in your car for 45 minutes, you'd sit in your car in the parking lot because you wanted to hear the rest of the conversation.
What was going to happen next? Yeah. People would call in. Some of the funniest people in the world would call in because it would be open phone America. After the guests would leave, anything could happen. One guy could call about the Dominican Republic. Next guy called about the Red Sox. And I was so into all of it that was probably, I mean, CNN was great, and I love what I'm doing now, but that was probably the most fun I ever had.
But it seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, you never really stopped doing radio. When you went to TV, a lot of people, I don't want to say sell out, but suddenly become enamored with the camera and the look and all. You never stopped doing that.
You got it down, Rick. I'll tell you something. I regarded television. Right now, what we're doing is radio with a camera. Okay? That's all it is. People can see us. But you could turn the thing off the camera and listen to us. So I said to myself, I'm not going to, a lot of radio guys didn't do well in television because they reacted to it like, whoo, you know. I reacted to it like, hey, camera find me. I'm with Rick and I'm asking Rick questions, and it's radio with pictures. That's all it is. Every show I've ever done, you can just listen to.
Was that your decision? Because when you went on CNN,
I never thought about it as a decision. Ted Turner liked me. He had guested on my radio show. He had seen my local television work. I always did television. Did television in Miami, years. Mm-hmm. And so when he put me on CNN, I never, Larry King Live and Mario Cuomo was the first guest. And I remember that night, June 1st, 1985, it was the 5th anniversary of CNN. And I go on, and it's just like a radio show. Guest is Governor Cuomo. We were in Georgetown, little studios. But I knew that night that would work. I just knew it would work. And Ted Turner turned out to be best guy I ever worked for. Nobody liked him. And so there's luck too. By the way, Paul Newman told me something once. It's so true. Any successful person in any field who, when discussing his or her life, doesn't use the word luck is a liar. I don't care who you are. Luck played a part. Left turn, right turn. What if I didn't run into James Shermans that day? Now, someone would say, well, you'd have been successful. Luck is the residue of design. Branch Rickey said that. I'm not so sure. Babe Ruth said, I'd rather be lucky than good.
Yeah.
One of the great quotes of all time. If you are lucky, you got it made. Luck falls to you. You don't know what it is. But when you hit the ball, that guy makes the error. And then you take advantage of the error. Luck.
So CNN is doing very well, and the star at CNN, not to embarrass you, was Larry King. You had the highest ratings, you were the best show. So there's an upstart. It's called Fox News, and they've got this guy named Bill O'Reilly on. And Bill O'Reilly comes on, and he figures he's kind of a bully, and he's going to become famous by going after the big guy at CNN. So night in and night out, he starts punching you in the nose on the air and saying you're no good and you're boring and this and that. And then I think there's finally a moment one day, Larry, as I recall, where he finally gets to confront you, and you said something interesting to him because he was criticizing the way you do TV, and you said something like, you do it your way and I'll do it my way. And it just ended the moment, and it was so sincere and so, take me through that moment.
There's room for everybody in the business. You find your shtick, and he was a broadcast bully, and it worked. And Fox worked. To call it Fox News is an oxymoron. It's not news. And you're doing the last news show on television. There's no news. CNN doesn't do news. It's Trump all the time. It's Trump TV. And CNN helped make Trump by covering him from the minute he announced. They covered his speeches when there were 20 guys running. They covered Trump. They covered Trump.
We used to have a thing called equal time in our business where our news directors would tell us, no, you can't interview that guy because then we got to bring in the other guy.
The equal
What happened?
The fairness doctrine.
Yeah.
We had to be fair. What was wrong with that? Fox News couldn't exist under that law. You had to give equal time every time they did something. So I'm a little sad about the business today. I don't like a lot of what I see. So I count on sports. I think RT is an underrated channel. They really do a lot of good things. They got this bad misnomer like Russia controls them. That's baloney. I have never, ever had a guest that they didn't run. I've had Putin criticized 3 times a week. They have never shut that down. They're really nice people to work for. They don't deserve the image they got that there's some sort of foreign entity. I don't think they're a foreign entity.
News is news, and good questions are good questions, and great stories are great stories. And it doesn't matter whether you're working for the British or the Russians or the French or the Americans, right?
Yeah, I told you, take the job.
Thanks. Yes, you did. You were the first person I called. Your advice was great. There's an interview I was watching which really was interesting because it's one of the few times, and then we'll talk about a few more. I don't know. You were interviewing this woman who was Miss California. Her name was Carrie Prejean.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it's one of the few times I've ever seen you get a little flustered because
she got mad at me because I asked her. She was running and she didn't want to answer a question when she was running for Miss California, and she said that was improper. She takes the microphone off, and I just went with it. You know, I wasn't really flustered. You know, in television, it's the one thing I know. In television, no matter what's happening, the producers say, keep it going, keep it going.
you did.
Yeah, hey, the place is burning. Keep the fire going, close in on the fire.
She takes her microphone off and you're telling her, you can be mad and you can say whatever you need to say, but make sure you have your mic on. When
There's a lot of, funny moments. It's a funny business, but the thing I loved about it and the thing I miss the most is live. I did live radio all my life. I did live television. Now I'm not doing live, on RT and Aura, it's taped. And, tape is still professional. I treat it as a professional, but live, nothing beats live. It's that moment.
Hey, you've been married 8 times?
7 times.
7 times.
Yep. But the last one is 22 years.
Is there?
I don't remember not being.
Do you just fall in and out of love?
Yeah, I had a theory that what I liked when I was 20 was not what I liked when I was 30. And to me, I'm amazed, like you're married a lot of years, right?
Yeah, 30
I'm
years.
amazed that people, I'm only married 22 years now.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that people like my in-laws, 65 years. 65 years. How much compromising did you do in those 65 years? And my major problem was my CNN came ahead of the wife. IOD came ahead of the wife. So I used to say, if I got 2 messages, call home, call CNN. Call CNN first. That changed in this marriage. You go through a lot of ups and downs. I'm not sure the institution is great. In other words, why is the state involved in a marriage? Why do you need a state license? Why? Okay, I understand children and judges have to deal with children. Why? Why is, first of all, monogamy? Come on. You tell me it's easy? Monogamy?
Hey, the word retire, does it even exist in your vocabulary?
No. As I asked Milton Berle once, you going to retire? And he said, to what? What would I do? So I'm 85. I've lived a long life. I've beaten so many health issues. I've had heart attack, bypass surgery, prostate cancer, lung surgery. I recently got diagnosed with leukemia, but it was chronic, not acute. So I take a pill every day, and I have to watch myself. I get a little shortness of breath sometimes. You know, you don't get younger, but I still love the day. What's going to happen today? And when you're curious, and by the way, the whole key to success to me is curiosity. You lose curiosity, there's no reason, but I'm so curious as to who's going to win today? What's going to happen tomorrow? What is this all about? What the hell is Brexit? Here's what I'd like my obit to read. Oldest man in the history of the world passed away today. Shot by a jealous husband. It took 3 weeks to wipe the smile off his face. I know I'm going to go, but I don't want to go. But I think I'm proud of what I've done.
I've been in the media a long time. RT is one of the few channels doing news. RT does news. This is my country, greatest show on earth. Tell the truth.